What up peeps? So I saw some movies, one that's a TV show, all in the comfort of my own home, and I won't try to take up too much time. The first movie I watched was Entergalactic. This is the film debut of Fletcher Moles and written by Kid Cudi. Now I'm a pretty big fan of Kid Cudi. I recently recommended his documentary from last year called A Man Named Scott, and I still listen to his music consistently, including this new album that he dropped that's tied in with the film, and I think it's safe to say that his album was much better than this movie. This is probably the most generic, unoriginal, dated, by the numbers rom-com ever made. I could see where this was going after the 20-minute mark, and by then I was just waiting for it to seriously be over. The positive aspect that I can say is that Cudi does prove that he's a competent and charismatic voice actor, and if you've seen the movie James White, he does give a good performance in that movie in the acting department too. Ty Dolla $ign was actually pretty entertaining in it and actually made some of the scenes with him less boring, so I guess there's that too. But those positives don't save how dated this movie feels. The plot is just lifted from a load of other movies, specifically ones that involve two struggling passionate artists, and the characters themselves feel about as phony and as fake as they look. The script does nothing to curve this type of story and plot. It has nothing to say beyond this type of plot. The film just throws these meaningless segments and scenarios that are visually distinctive from the movie itself with nothing unique to contribute to it. There's also this very insulting claim that the animation compares to that of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and while that film does follow a basic narrative formula, the animation completely trumps this one. The animation in Intergalactic was horrible in my opinion. The characters are designed in such a way that they hardly have any expression in their faces. They're visually way too busy, and the human aspect of their faces just gets lost in this overblown visual and art style. I mean, look at the characters in Spider-Verse. The animators made a conscious effort to give them defining facial features that create the opportunity to give their features definition and expression. The film finds that balance of 2D and 3D perfectly to where there's comprehension in their facial features. Here, there's no balance at all, and it just looks overbearing with no real facial animation to communicate emotion. And what's up with people saying that it's impressive that the animated characters look like the actors? Like, have you guys not seen Ants, any episode of Family Guy, or The Congress? It's been done 1,000 times before already. It's not new or impressive. You people are so easily amused. And this was made worse by the god-awful choice to lower the animation frame rate to such a degree that it completely displeased my eyes watching these characters just simply move around. Again, like in the Spider-Verse, the frame rate was played with when the script called for it, but it always remained consistent. Here, they're either moving too slow or too fast, making the frame rate completely and insanely inconsistent. They do have variations to the animation, but at the point of not really serving any purpose except to extend the movie's runtime, this is not the type of animation that belongs in a feature film unless you know how to properly execute it. That kind of reminds me of another movie that attempted to try to imitate a breakthrough animation and completely failed. What's that? There's two parts? Oh, you should go check that out, guys. Look, check out the two-part review of this movie. This type of animation should belong in a music video or like a short film, considering how pointless and heightened the visual segments feel. I mean, you take away the art style, the pretty colors, the soundtrack, Kid Cudi's name, and what do you have? Like, honestly, what the heck do you have? Cudi should never try to write a movie ever again, and Fletcher Moles should never attempt this type of animation style without understanding why it worked for a previous movie. I thought this was a very pretentious, pointless eyesore of a film. People seem to really like it for reasons I'm not sure, but for me, this was an amazingly overrated film, and I'm glad that it was over, and I'm only giving it a star, and I'm never gonna watch this crap again. And next was season 1 of a show called Bee and the Puppycat on Netflix, which is actually a remake of a YouTube series from several years back in 2013, created by the animator Natasha Allegri. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. I'm sorry if I'm not. She actually worked on 5 seasons of Adventure Time, and I'm glad to say that I personally loved this show. It's incredibly comforting, whimsical, and funny. The characters are all grounded, which is complemented by the voice expressing these characters as real and relatable people, and this actually juxtaposes with the heightened fantasy-like element of the setting. And the animation and art style is very creative and expressive itself. I love the music, which is sort of sounds like pixelated lo-fi, and it works really well for the tone. Now, as far as anime-inspired TV shows go, this is probably the best. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but at the same time establishes the over-the-topness of the stakes. On the surface, it looks like a kid's show, but I doubt kids will really understand what's happening. It's a 16-episode series for the first season, which is why it took me so long to even want to talk about it. Despite that, the narrative still stays tight and focused, and the tone itself is relaxing, and the imagery and the animation is very strange with a lot of strange looking character models which work. It's all just ridiculously imaginative in ways that I've never seen from a show, and the quirkiness really does add a lot to the experience. I don't want to say too much about the show, but it is on Netflix and I definitely recommend it. I plan to actually rewatch the series again. I'm definitely down for a second season and I'm hoping that it comes soon. soon, and I'm gonna give season 1 4 stars. And lastly was the second Hocus Pocus movie, and it was legitimately awful. Now, I rewatched the original beforehand, and I can safely confirm that this kind of movie is just not for me, even when I was a kid. But at the very least, it was carried by the 3 leads over the top energy and charisma in their performances. It's just that the script was complete trash, but it was watchable. Here, the sequel is the most boring movie ever. They're literally just repeating the same song and dance, catering to your nostalgia for the first time without improving a single thing from the original. But the best part of the movie was the very beginning when we see them as kids, because the performances from the 3 were like amazing, and we got context about them, and I'd honestly rather see that movie than this stale-faced, bored, lifeless, Bratz doll looking protagonist in this movie. The movie just continues to repeat the exact same plot from the original while making the exact same mistakes, such as the 3 witches dicking around and commanding a bunch of useless people they possess to do the job for them that they can do themselves easily while they do nothing at all. And this movie also has the most offensive product placement ever involving a Walgreens, and I knew that the stupid Walgreens ad from YouTube had something to do with it, and I can clearly say with confidence, this movie. The humor misses every single time, and the 3 leads are almost embarrassingly worn out their welcome. This movie is just nostalgia bait and nothing else. Listen people, if you like this movie, you like it because you like the original. A good sequel should stand on its own and improve a film, not be dependent on the original. The ending was awful and pointless. I don't remember anything else that happened in this movie. The witches are useless. Speaking of which, I don't really know what the film wants us to think about these characters from either film. Like, are they bad? Are they just jokey but are supposed to be like a threat? Are they intentionally stupid and useless? Because the beginning of the movie doesn't really tell us how we should see them, because the movie wants us to identify them as victims that we're supposed to root for and care about. I don't know. I honestly don't care. The only positive thing about this movie is that Sarah Jessica Parker still looks good. Whew. But other than that, skip this crap. It's boring, it's annoying, it's not funny, it's idiotic, and it's way too long, and I'm gonna give it just half a star because that's all it deserves. Alright peeps, peace.